And here he is, Vern, my trusty associate and researcher at Noel's World of Whiskey. How you doing, Vern? Good to see you made it. And of course, Sparky. He is my master taster. Oh, Sparky, I see you've been into it a little bit early. Hope you're in good enough shape for the review. I've got a long review ahead of us here, so maybe we better take it easy here. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Noel's World of Whiskey. And we are going to do a review on the Glenfiddich 18. Now, I haven't had one of these in a while. It was probably one of the first whiskeys I had many, many years ago, and I'm talking single malt. And it was probably one of the first 18s. In fact, it was the first 18 I ever drank, or ever had a dram of. And I haven't had this in, I don't remember the last time I had it, but I know I was commercial fishing at the time, so that's many years ago. So, anyways, we're going to give it a shot here. What can I say about Glenfiddich? It is William Grant Company are the owners. They're one of the last of the independents. Let's just see what it's telling me on the bottle here. William Grant and Sons, of course, and it is 40%. I don't think it's ever been any different. I think all the years I drank this, it's been 40%. And I'm not going to rant about it because it is what it is, and it has been always a 40. So we are going to open a new bottle. And William Grant and Sons also are the owners of Balvenie, which I've done a review just recently. I believe that was the 14 port cask. Now, the only thing missing here, I forgot my glass. So let me grab my glass. And I won't need water. So this is pretty much a household name in whiskey. Glenfiddich. And I believe it stands for the Valley of the Deer. And that's why you do see the deer on the label there. And I did have a bourbon Glenfiddich. I think it's down at my daughter's in Victoria right at the moment, but and I do like it. It's a 14. It's 43 actually, 43 ABV. And it is definitely one that I'm fond of. I left it down there because when I do go down there, it's nice to have a dram, so. And she likes it. So the nose. So right off the bat, we get typical of your Glenfiddichs. They have sherry influence. Now this is done in small batches, and I think it's finished off the last year, 2 years in sherry. And it's Oloroso casks. And now I'm getting a bit of orange peel, and maybe some cookie dough, baking spices, and I've got some floral notes to this, eh? But the fruits are there. And again, the oranges, maybe some peaches, and maybe some apple. I like Spartan apples. It's not a heavy nose, it's more of a delicate whiskey. But it's a nose that I know, I'm familiar with this, and even though I haven't had the 18, I had certainly had the 14 bourbon barrel recently, and there's similarities. And then we have this 15-year-old Solera as well. I've had that, which I was going to do a review on. But there's a little bit of spring in here, spring flowers. So not you know, like the sherry's not overwhelming, but it's there. There's definitely, you do get the sherry notes, the fruits. A bit of cherry. So let's go for the palate. We're going to make this a short one tonight, and we'll get through this quite well. I'm kind of excited about this because this is the first I've had an 18 Glenfiddich in many years, and this was one of the first single malts I experienced. So, Salash. It's definitely a Glenfiddich. And it has that Glenfiddich signature taste. Fruits, desserts, even a little bit of chocolate in the background. So I got some chocolate and cocoa notes going on. You usually have to wait for them. Here comes the caramel. Caramel, toffee, sweet vanilla, that's the wood. We've got 18 years in wood here. Inevitably, you're going to get some wood. But the orange is there still. Oh boy, vanilla pudding. I was kind of stingy on my glass. I'm going to top it up a little bit here. I got to remember this is a 40 ABV. Well, you know, I don't mind having a 40 ABV once in a while. I don't know, as so many people rant about it, but I guess maybe it's the money they're spending. This is about a $155 bottle in Canada. It's not an expensive 18-year-old, so they, I guess they could up it to 43. I mean, I guess we could say a lot of things here about what Glenfiddich should do with their whiskeys, but they're making the whiskey, so let them do what they're going to do. And we're the ones tasting it, and we're doing a review on it. And so far, I'm enjoying this. So again, not a heavy body, but the word delicious. It's very desserty. Lots of dessert here. So I mentioned the rich chocolate and orange. Caramel, I mentioned that. I mentioned the toffee. I mentioned the vanilla notes, vanilla pudding maybe. And, you know, still getting a little bit of, you know, some of the spring flower blossoms there too. Oh boy, in the background, we might even have a little bit of, oh, apple rhubarb pie. Oh boy, that's interesting. Yeah, apple rhubarb pie. It's like I say, there's a few desserts going on here. It's a light mouthfeel. It's, you know, this is not a heavy coater. It's an easy, certainly an easy drink for a newbie into Scotch. They'll really enjoy this, and I think that is where the market is for this whiskey. It's a whiskey that doesn't require a lot of work to. Certainly, it's not a heavy study, and I think if I was introducing, or if I had some of my family in here that doesn't really appreciate Scotch, this is one they'll actually appreciate. So. I don't usually do 3 sips like this, but it is a lighter whiskey, so just small sips. And nailing the palate down, we have a sweet mix of chocolate, cocoa, I said vanilla custard, vanilla pudding, you know, maybe a little bit of rhubarb, apple rhubarb pie. Where we're getting a little bit of that floral stuff going on. You know, that's it. I'm gonna move on to the finish, and the finish is gonna be pretty easy. So to the finish. Well, you know, it's not as short as I was expecting. There's still stuff that's going on. I've had shorter finishes. For a light distillate, it's actually doing okay on my tongue right now. So, at 40 ABV, yeah, it's on the shorter side of medium, but it's not short. There's stuff going on. Very slight burn. Little huggy, a little bit of a Kentucky hug there, mild Kentucky hug. I'm just repeating a lot of what I mentioned earlier, the sweet notes, the dessert notes, the chocolate, the orange, you know, orange fondue, you know, maybe even some orange chocolate cheesecake, you know. It is, the wood, you know, is the vanilla, and it's not a bitter, astringent approach to that wood. You know, considering it's been in the, you know, this cask for 18 years, it's 18 years around wood. It's quite nice actually. It's a nice drink. The word nice. It's a nice drink. So you notice I'm not as critical on 40s and 43s as some reviewers. I think it's because I've been drinking this stuff a long time, and I've had 40s and 43s through the years. I mean, there's this there's a lot of ganging up on this company, Glenlivet, Macallan's, not so much Glenmorangie, because they seem to get up in the 46s and all that, or at least 43. But these companies are doing pretty damn good, and there's a lot of people that like their whiskeys. And I'm not saying they're people that are studies of Scotch or you know, got a history or a collection that you know, they're doing blogs or reviews, or you know, they're focused and OCD with this stuff. These are people that go out, they buy the bottle, They enjoy it. They enjoy it with company. These are the people that are keeping companies like Glenfiddich and Macallan's and Glenlivet. They're keeping the revenue coming because that's the bulk of their business. The bulk of their business is not me. The bulk of their business is the average Joe that doesn't need a complicated Mortlac or Ball Blair or pay a little more for a Bladnock or they're going after simplicity. And now Macallan's is a little pricey, but the lower price Macallan's, I mean, you can still afford a 12-year-old. But Glenfiddich's very, very affordable, and same with Glenlivet. So, and I think that's why it's important I review them. So the finish is a short to medium finish, and it's a nice dram. I'm having another. It's not complicated. I'm not doing a review on a Bunnahabhain, or a Glengarrick. I'm doing a review on a Glenfiddich, which was it was the first company to introduce single malt to North America. It got the ball rolling, and all the other companies followed. It has incredible history. It does the whole process in the distillery, right, like the malting floors. It does the bottling. The only other distillery I can think of that does that is Springbank in Campbelltown there. So this has a lot of history, this distillery. This was the distillery that, William Grant dreamed of building when he was working at, I think he was at Mortlac, and this was his dream, was to build this distillery, and he did. And it's got credibility. I mean, there are some Glenfiddichs that are way up there in price. There's some that I'll never ever get a chance to taste, but it's definitely a player in my book, and it's definitely one I should always have in my on my shelf, and I'll always have somebody enjoy it. Is it my favorite whiskey? No, it's not. It's a whiskey I enjoy, and I will hopefully really enjoy this bottle because I haven't had this bottle, I'm going to guess 15 years. So this is a first, and it's okay, So what kind of a score? It's an 18 that deserves, I'm going to say, an 84. 84 to 85. It gets an 84, it's 40 ABV. Priced well. It's a hard argument with the price. It could be an 85. Because I do throw the price factor in there, but I'm going to leave it at 84. It's an 84 18, and it's an affordable 18. With my scoring, I'm not trying to scare off some of you guys, some of you that have, never had a Glenfiddich before. It's a really good whiskey to start off on. So if you're not, you've just done a few scotches, this should be in your wheelhouse. So, anyways, I'm going to ask you to drink wisely and intelligently, and do not drink and drive. And until the next time, so much.